I've been meaning to make this video for a while. I don't typically talk about these subjects, but because I'm quite a spiritual being, in a relative sense, quite philosophical as well, I thought I might as well make it this year, where a lot of people are at the very least confused about what is happening in this world and do not know what they are facing in everyday life anymore. Our lives are, in many ways, unrecognizable from last year or the year before, and we don't know what's coming. In either case, this video is about mental turmoil and the state of allowing. Join me on this journey as you enjoy a walk through Pompeii near Naples in southern Italy. Thank you for watching. Sadly, mental health is very rarely discussed in everyday conversation, even though most, if not all people have their issues. Just like the human body, the mind can have its dysfunctions. It is very normal to not always feel happy or optimistic. You'd be surprised how many people go through their own mental episodes. The mind is a beautiful instrument, even though the human body decays and eventually will cease to exist. Our brain can, in its current state, use its vast imagination, no matter what age the body turns. You can think any thought imaginable. You can place yourself in any situation, in any place in the universe. You can literally play any scenario like a movie script. It's a framework of your previous experiences, mostly from childhood, and your current view of the world. Your mind can project a seemingly real imagination, and it will feel very real for you as well. Therefore, our mind often goes on and on imagining situations that might or might not happen. These thoughts are not always positive though. In some cases, the mind can turn itself against you. It doesn't necessarily become an enemy inside your own body. It can, however, replay thoughts that you become attached to. In such a case, you might grow to feel like a prisoner of your own brain. This is frightening, as an inexperienced person will likely not know what to do in such a case. Depression or anxiety can take over a perfectly fine day and turn into turmoil, leaving you feeling exhausted and tense. Many stones are unturned. People don't talk about what bothers them mentally, even though good friends and family will most certainly be open to listening to what's on your mind. Another possible issue is that people don't know how to deal with a friend going through mental turmoil. If it's especially bad, a friend might even be overwhelmed by a sudden outburst. Often, people keep their feelings for themselves until they all come out at once. Then, a friend will be surprised and wonders where it all suddenly came from. Yet, they will do their best to help you. That's what friends are for. It helps to just tell them you want them to listen to you. When you tell people what bothers you, unconsciously, they'll be thinking of a way to solve your problem. People are practical and like to provide advice, sometimes unasked, yet always well meant. If people don't feel like having to come up with a solution, they'll hopefully be more focused on the conversation and listen carefully. Then once you found someone who will listen, don't water down your thoughts. Get it off your mind and say exactly what needs to be said. Air your mind. It will help give some clarity. You might feel a lot better once someone has heard your story. Perhaps the friend already picked up some cues from your behavior. Or perhaps you've been staying in more lately, or you seem a bit concerned about some things going on in life. You'd be surprised how easily people pick up on these cues. Over the years, people tune into you. Sudden changes in behavior will not go unnoticed. This is not a bad thing. We all feel a bit off sometimes, so people will not directly see sudden behavioral changes as something to be concerned about. Life is hard sometimes, and each and everyone will understand if you can't bear it at some points. Your mind can, above all, make life seem much harder than it is. At other times, there's things that happen in life that have a severe mental impact. We've all gone through such periods, so there's no need for any examples. Let's just focus on how they feel. It can sometimes feel like you're alone in the world, with your own thoughts and your troubled mind. People seem to walk along the streets, doing their daily business. They seem turned into themselves, not having many problems at all. It is like only your mind is running unnecessary errands. You're overthinking something silly you said. Or maybe it is worse, and you think a minor pain is a fatal disease. There's countless tricks your mind can play on you to get you in its grip. It can be downright scary. You might have caught yourself off guard a couple of times. After a while, you notice you've cast adrift. Lost in thought, you walk the streets or ride a bus, and suddenly notice how unaware of your surroundings you were. You missed your bus stop or lost track of time completely. Your cheeks might be tense, a physical reaction to stress. You feel the shoulders are completely tense and blocked as well. You feel like you're wandering an empty path through a dark forest. And even though people around you are bubbly and having fun, you might not be able to join when you are worried or stressed. Whether this is actual depression or an anxiety disorder, I am not the person to tell you. Yet I can tell you there's a way out, or at least a way to try. There's not an easy way, there's no quick way. Yet it is you who has to deal with it. There is help, but it's you who has to make the step first. There's nobody to deal with it but yourself at the end of the day. People can listen and provide professional help. By all means, consider these if you find it necessary. You can't run away from your own mind. Distractions, such as fast entertainment, drinking or unproductive distractions, only last so long. At the end of the day, you'll find yourself in bed, still anxious or stressed. Therefore, it is good to start confronting your fears or your worries, whether these are grounded or not. Some of the best natural healers is friendship, for we lose ourselves when we share an experience with someone. You'll get energized from being with a good friend, especially once you've managed to tell the person that you're not feeling well lately. You'll get to a new level of trust with this friend, which can only grow your friendship. You talk about what bothers you, and perhaps your friend has something to disclose to you as well. You'll then notice that you'd also like to offer a solution to your friend. Strangely, thinking of a solution for others seems to be easier than for ourselves. I'm unaware of the exact reason, but I noticed it myself. Perhaps it might have something to do with that we're our own biggest critics. Sometimes negative self-talk, extreme judgment on one's own status, performance, and appearance can be downright hostile. Just a thought, would you talk to a good friend in the same way that you talk to yourself? Unless you've gone through some phases of awareness and grew to become a self-confident person, most likely not. Yet you tolerate your own self-criticism. Why, instead of being one's own critic, not become a supportive friend of yourself? Cut yourself some slack and realize that everyone is putting their best foot forward. You do not see what's behind someone's pretty face, or what a person who seems to have it all together is battling with. You see the worst of yourself, and you see the best of others. This is what they show you. It is, for that reason, not a good idea to continuously compare yourself to others. Healthy competition, sure, but keep it in reasonable measures. If your mind seems to turn against you, you're anxious or crippled by stress, just remember that many people go through it on a daily basis. You're never alone in this. Billions of people have walked the earth with the same problems you face right now. They've kept it to themselves, or they've disclosed it to loved ones, but they've gotten through it. There is no reason why you would not be able to. One thing anyone can apply when thoughts seem to take over is conscious breathing. If you tense up, you realize you're only breathing with your chest. This is shallow breathing. Your breathing has a direct relationship with how you feel. If you breathe more slowly from your belly this time, you can't help but relax a bit. Stay conscious of the deep breathing you're doing. Don't exaggerate it, just remember to inhale deeply instead of breathing through your chest. It will be a whole improvement. Keep a straight posture. The mind follows the body, and the body follows the mind. If you crawl up into a ball, breathe hastily, and spend days indoors, you will grow to be more anxious, especially if you're already going through an episode. Compare this to when you're on a mountain, standing straight, inhaling deeply. You can't help but feel better, no matter how much the mind may bug you. The body and mind are connected. If you feel anxious, your whole physicality will live up to that feeling. Also, if you're cocooned in a blanket on your couch, your mind will follow what your body is doing. The mind is directly influenced by what you do in this very moment. If you're in an environment triggering anxiety, if you start breathing very shallowly, your mind will turn into its anxious state, which you dislike so much. Apart from the deep breathing, walking always helps. Any physical activity. If you're in bed, exhausted and afraid, you shouldn't stay there. Don't sleep for 12 hours. Get out and take a walk. You'll feel some relief. We're made to move, so do it at least every day. Take a walk around the block. Focus on the breathing. Each 3 steps you inhale, next 3 you slowly exhale. You're halfway there now. However, this will not just dissolve your thoughts. You can still be raging on the inside of your head while taking a quiet walk, and that's fine. Continue, there's more that you can do. Once home from your walk, take a hot shower. It can be nice and long. Use your favorite scrub, put some candles and maybe some music. Be a friend to yourself and treat yourself like that. You'd prepare a nice bath for your loved one. Why wouldn't you take utmost care of yourself as well? Entirely personally, I think that it's unhealthy that we tend to forget ourselves so much, yet put others on a pedestal. Many people do themselves short just because they are programmed to please others. We should love ourselves just as much. In fact, we should love ourselves in the first place. Always. See yourself, your physicality, as a large bucket. It is filled with all that you are as a person. A part of that is self-love. This part should be so large that, in fact, your bucket is overflowing. The remains of your self-love you share with other people. Only if you love yourself, take care of yourself, you can take care of others. You can take care of people when downright hating yourself, but it's what I see as unhealthy. Yes, it is great to take care of other people. Even more so, it helps relieve anxiety. Taking care of others releases the hormone, oxytocin, the so-called cuddle hormone. It's a fascinating hormone you might want to look into. Or just hug your best friend and have it released into your body instantly. I stick with my point. Love yourself and then love others. You're the only person you share a whole life with. There's nobody who can and nobody who will be able to love you more than you yourself. Then, share your love with others. It's an emotion you generate. Once it's inside you, only then it can ooze out into other areas of your life. Now I come to the gist of the story, a subject I've been studying for years with great fascination, the state of allowing. It is a path that you turn into, and from that point on, you will not look back. It starts with you having to become more aware of your thoughts and surroundings. It helps you sit comfortably, and then you can start the phase of allowing. It's only observing your thoughts, see them pass by like clouds in the sky. However, you do not engage with the thoughts. Yet you also don't try to get rid of them. You observe them, watch them come and go. Don't become attached to any of them. You'll get into a natural state of flow, a path of no resistance. Because once you resist a thought, you will only strengthen it. If you look at a small mountain creek, you see the water rushing down. It has one and the same direction. There is nothing moving up against the current, against the stream. Everything moves downstream. Nothing is struggling to make its way back up. You see that nature has no place for resistance, for objects fighting the current. The flow is followed. If a fish were to swim against the current, it would only experience more resistance. It's not doing the fish any good, that's for sure. Whereas if the fish just let go, it would follow the flow of life. The water will lead the fish. The fish lets go and trusts where it's being taken to. In the state of allowing, you do the same. You stop trying to answer anxious thoughts or worries. Do not address them. Do not pretend they don't exist. Do not tell yourself they are just thoughts. Don't tell yourself anything. Just look at them like a scientist observing a subject. Quietly. Let the thoughts pass by. Imagine yourself looking at the clouds. Even better, go look at clouds on a cloudy day. Once you practice this state of allowing, you'll get more settled into it. It will become more natural. It's not a technique, so don't see it as such. Because if you start using it as a technique, the mind will still find a way to influence you and keep you in its grip. The thing is that you don't need to do anything at all but observe. And this can be one of the hardest things to do for the mind. It might even seem impossible at first. You must surrender to each thought. Let it have the best of you. Let it pass through. There is nothing that a thought can do by itself. See your mind as a computer sorting out some updates. Remember the rattling noise old computers used to make? Your mind does the same. It has momentum, and the momentum needs to run out. Your state of worry must lose its fuel. Or see the mind as a speeding car. As long as you keep fueling it, you keep the car speeding up. Now just let it run freely. The car will eventually stop if you take no interventions at all. Each time you engage with a worry, you strengthen it and you push the gas. When you try to ignore it, you strengthen it as well, because you provide fuel to the thought. Let them sit where they are. They will pass by. Becoming comfortable in the state of allowing takes a lot of time. It might be a year, but start it. You will go through a phase of release. It depends on how much resistance you build up inside yourself, how much the release will bother you. It's energy being released as you're finally allowing it to pass through, and that can be very uncomfortable. Yet, you can allow it. Nothing bad will happen in a state of allowing. Your resistance, built up through your life, is being released. It might take months to years for it to be completely released, and you will not reach a state of bliss. You will reach balance. One thing is for sure, each mind has its worries. Only if you can balance these with the positive things in life will you live healthily and happily. A state of bliss is not natural either. If you release your resistance and have had many thoughts pass by, your state of allowing will become natural to you. You'll be more grounded in your being. And once you start it, there is no way back to the unaware, unconscious state the mind once found itself in. This video serves just as a pointer for dealing with bothersome thoughts, for allowing them. It helps to seek help from friends and family, and where needed, guidance from counselors. The only thing I want to share is what you can do for yourself. It's meant to make you think. Or actually no, it helps you stop thinking you sometimes. To look outside at the clouds and give yourself a break from all the crazy things happening out there. Well done to you.